Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at some PS2 games on the Steam Deck, but not only just looking at PS2 games, but just looking at how the emulator has evolved over time. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I recently updated my emulator. It was kind of a bit of a fucky of a mistake on my part because as soon as I updated it, I had to relink the ROM set, the set path from Steam ROM Manager, and it actually updated the PS2 emulator to an extremely new version. And this version is completely different to the one I was using previously. So a couple of memory card issues I had. I managed to transfer a lot of the saves over, but that was a bit of a ball ache as well, a bit of a nightmare. Um, and I still haven't managed to get my San Andreas save over. And San Andreas is the game that I've nearly finished. For some reason, me and San Andreas, I just never finished the game. But this time I was getting so close to finishing it. And then I go and update my PS2 emulator. And yeah, I've lost my save again. It's sitting on the other emulator save. It's weird because now I've got like two PS2 emulators set up. It's like one of them's an older version and one of them's an EMU deck version, which is using a newer kind of firmware. So I actually do prefer the new firmware a lot. It's just the transition was a bit of a non-annoyance. So today I want to go through some gameplay on the new one and some of the cool stuff you can do on the new one, such as achievements. Guys, if there is anything good to come out of this update, it's achievements on PS2 games. Holy fuck. If you guys have not set up retro achievements yet, it's I mean, if you don't like achievements or you're not bothered, then I'm guessing you're not going to be asked either way. But if you do really love getting achievements in games, set up retro achievements, guys. Because if you go through that MU deck setup when you're doing emulation to start with, it's like the easy way of doing emulation on your Steam Deck. If you set that up first and log into retro achievements, you can get like PSP achievements. You can get like obviously older games, SNES, GBA. You can get achievements in Pokemon games. It's just like if you love achievements, it is a must to do. And recently they added achievements to PS2 games, and oh my days! Let's just say I want to go back and replay some PS2 games because a lot of my favorite PS2 games now have achievements. It's a little bit hit and miss. A lot of games don't have achievements supported, but they're always being added into the system. We'll go over a few in a second. I just like to ramble on for a bit in the intro. So if you're not a fan, skip ahead and I'll see you in the future. If you're wondering what achievements are supported, I'll link you down to the Retro Achievements website. Just look down in the description or literally just type in Retro Achievements. You can do a little browse and see some games on the PS2 emulator that now have achievements supported. Anyway, I'm going to run through how to get this new PS2 emulator and I'm going to run you through some games and show you some achievements because to me that was the biggest kind of upgrade. And also I've seen a bit of an upgrade in performance as well in some titles such as Jack 3, or Jack 3, pardon my accent. Jack 3 has mad amount of decent performance now. It was playable before, but for some reason, since this update, they've optimized it a shit ton, and now I get like really playable frame rates in Jack 3. Well, yeah. Anyway, we'll go over a few whilst I'm talking, and yeah. So I'll see you on the Steam Deck. Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we are on desktop mode at the minute. So I'll try and make it as short and sweet as possible. But if you've been watching me for a while, I do like to ramble on, and I apologise if it seems like a bit of a filler. But I mean, I do like to talk about the stuff I'm interested in. So if you're interested in that, just stick me on in the background, like I always say, or watch whatever you want to do. So as you can see, we're in desktop mode, and the reason I initiated this update in the first place is just because I'd heard rumors kicking around on Reddit that achievements were now being integrated into PS2. I was a bit wary at doing the update at the time, but I just thought, yeah, screw it. I'm sure everything will be fine. You're a bit naive because the PS2 emulator can be a bit interesting at times. So as you can see, what I've just opened there it's a plugin that I never had before, but since I did an update to the PS2 emulator, it gave me an EMU deck version. So basically what I did was I ran the EMU deck program again. So just let me exit this. So I've got EMU deck here. And if you ever launch EMU deck or if you launched EMU deck in the past, you'll get a desktop icon, or if you've deleted the desktop icon, I'm pretty sure it's in your start menu or application launcher. And if you click this, it will try and update everything for you automatically. So I thought that would be the easiest way of updating everything without having to manually do it myself, because I've got a lot of emulators running at the minute, and to manually do all that myself would be a bit of a pain. So I literally just, for the sake of it, I'll do it now. So I literally just clicked on EmuDeck and it launched this updater and it said checking for updates. And once that finished, I obviously had a lot of updates because a lot of my stuff was done in March last year. So yeah, it updated everything for me and I had to then relink everything in ROM Manager. So that was a little bit annoying, but once that was done, it gave me this. And if you were unsure about me saying I updated everything in ROM Manager, I mean, it's literally just if you type ROM in, it'll be one of the first searches. So Steam ROM Manager, you go into there, you just have to link your paths again back to where your ROMs are. If your ROMs haven't really changed locations, then it should automatically update anyway. But for some reason, because I hot swapped this micro SD card out, the location of it had changed a little bit. So yeah, I'm not sure why, but it just happened. So now if we go to this new one here, so as you can see, I've got 3 different emulators. That one was my original one, so that one was the one I was using originally. That's the very basic emulator, so very old school looking. I'm pretty sure these two are both linked, but this is just the EmuDeck version. And when you update the EmuDeck version, it launches this one all the time. So make sure your BIOS is up to date and you've got a new BIOS in there. I'm pretty sure if you've already got a BIOS, it should automatically update, but for some reason mine needed a new BIOS added to it, so I just grabbed them from my old PS2 emulator and put them in the new folder. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this as short and sweet as possible, but it's not hard, it's not easy. As you can see, I'm not going to go over all these settings again. I mean, if I just quickly scroll through them, they're pretty much exactly the same as what I was using before. The good thing about EmuDeck is it literally like defaults to like the best possible settings for like your console, which in our case is the Steam Deck. So the EmuDeck like knows the best settings for Steam Deck. Generally, because I know some games require different settings, but yeah, I haven't had any issues with it so far. My widescreen patches were automatically enabled as well, but I did add them previously, so I'm not sure EmuDeck adds widescreen patches, but it might do. As you can see, kind of one of the main things I want to talk about here before I move into gameplay is this button here. So, achievement settings. What you want to do is enable this one as well. I wouldn't enable hardcore mode. Enable notifications so you know when you're getting an achievement, and then sound effects, and then you log in. So if you just log in here with your username and password, if you literally just go on retro achievements and sign up, and then it's just the same one here, you can log in. Obviously, you're going to need internet access every time you use this because it's connecting to a server. So it's a bit shit if you're out and about and you don't have any internet access, your achievements aren't going to unlock, sadly. I don't know if they're ever going to make an offline mode for this retro achievements, but you never say never. But it's been online for a long time now, and that doesn't seem to be a possibility. So yeah, once that's done and you launch a PS2 game, you should have a pop-up saying there are 700 achievements in this game. And so a lot of games have a shit ton amount of achievements, like a lot more than just a regular trophy count or like achievement count for Xbox. But yeah, welcome back, guys. So I spent a long time rambling before about how achievements didn't work in some titles, and they do in some titles. I know retro achievements doesn't have every game under the sun as far as PS2 goes with achievements, but I think I've just troubleshooted it to the point where I'm happy to say that USA titles, so games that you've got USA ROMs for, will work majority of the time with achievements. And the Europe titles, so if you've got any PAL games, these will not be picked up by retro achievements. I've just done a lot of troubleshooting recently, and all my PAL titles do not seem to pop up with achievements. My Metal Gear Solid's a PAL, just plainly because of the 50 hertz problem, and that they run a bit smoother because they're only having to run to 50 hertz kind of thing. I might re-download these in USA, although I've got a finished save file on this one already. So probably just this one in USA, just to doubly confirm this. But for now, it seems that only USA titles can get achievements. So, for example, God of War. So let's say you've logged in. I showed you how to do that previously. So if we just click play, as you can see, if you're connected to the internet, you'll get this nice little pop-up here saying God of War 2, you have earned 0 achievements, which is awesome because to think you can earn achievements in PS2 games is so cool. Like, the amount of hours that I will now just sit and replay PS2 games just because it now has achievements built in. Yeah. And also, guys, really cool. If you want to hotkey your achievement button, if you go to enable back grip buttons, I mean, what I normally do anyway is set F1 to that one. F3 is normally my go-to. So in every game you'll have to do this, which is a bit shit. But F1 quick saves into slot 1. F3 quick loads from spot 1. And if we do keyboard, so we need to change our right trigger here, this one. Well, you can change whatever you want. I prefer this one there. If you want to look up achievements or just keep achievements open whenever you want, change that to F9 and you can then open achievements and scroll through them in game. So cool. And not only do they have like achievements for most things you can think of, some games even have secret achievements. So you could literally just, yeah, if you're connected to the internet, you can unlock achievements for like your old PS2 games. I mean, look how awesome this is. Like, ride the steeds of time, defeat the barbarian king. I mean, guys, if you love achievements, this is a must. So cool. I love it. It breathes new life into PS2 games, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it enough. And if that means you're gonna have to mess about with updating the PS2 emulator, I'd say it's worth it. It's not too much of a pain in the ass to update, but once you've got the stuff running, like I say, games seem to run a lot nicer as well, which I'll demonstrate here. So I'll just jump into God of War 2 quickly. But previously, God of War 2 was quite an iffy game for me to run. Like, it was playable, but a lot of the time I considered just trying to play the PAL version because of the 50 hertz lock. But for the sake of the achievements, you need the USA version. So luckily, there seem to be a lot of fixes recently on these emulators, which makes them more optimized. Show you what settings I'm running at the minute. I don't think I've got it locked to a profile. So if we lock this to God of War Zone profile, love the way you can get customized icons there now as well. I've got it at 6 watt at the minute, 60 FPS. I know this is only an in-game cutscene, so we'll skip through this. Playing God of War 2 after playing some of the new God of War games is so weird, just because of Kratos and how different he is in these games. I would love to replay these games again, so the fact I can now get achievements on them definitely is making me want to play these classics. I mean, obviously they're nothing like the new games, in the sense that these are like hack and slashes. But some of the boss fights in these older ones are so cool. And as you can see, guys, I'm on 6 watt at the minute, solid 60 FPS. I'm pretty sure if you go back in my channel, it was never this smooth. It feels way nicer to play. I tell you, down to this new update, and maybe they changed a couple of settings, but they've definitely optimized it a lot more. Because this is hitting a solid 60, maybe one minor frame drop just then, but I'd say this is a pretty hefty scene in the game as well. Right at the start, you've got the big dude in the back, and you're absolutely blasting enemies. I'd say once we get out of this room, I did notice it drop a little bit when we lifted this up last time, so let's just test it. But like I say, this is running at 6 watts, so you're going to get a decent battery life from this too. And I'd hate to give I'd hate to say one title is a good use case to showcasing like all titles are going to run this well. But this is one of the harder to run titles on the PS2. It's got a lot of detail going on, a lot of action set pieces, lightning effects here. As you can see, dropped it down to around 57. But when you're in the animation of the lightning effects, like you barely notice the frame drop. So yeah, I'll play a little bit more of this, guys. But as you can see, when you open up the achievement list, it literally just pauses the game. So if any of you guys are still on an older version of the PS2 emulator and haven't really thought about updating it anytime soon, yeah, let this be a little hint, hint, nudge, nudge kind of push to update it. I'll show you a couple more games that have achievements and how well they run on this new emulator. I'll be back in a second. And before we jump into another game, I know a few of you in the comments are asking me, does the artwork change work on PS2 titles? And yes, it does. As long as the name is titled correctly, it normally picks it up. Or you can even change the name. You can literally just type the name in here and select it yourself. So even if you have a dodgy named ROM file, you can still change it and pick it up. So yeah, you can change the artwork to any of these amazing styles. I love that artwork, really cool. I'm going to keep it at the classic at the minute, but same with the wide capsule. Then you've got the banner, which appears when you're in the game itself, well, in the game menu itself. The logo, obviously the logo, and then the icon as well. So yeah, you can customize all these for all your emulated games, which is amazing. So another reason why I know that the USA versions are really the only ones that get achievements is because if I click play on this, this is the USA version, and currently this doesn't have any achievements at all on retro achievements, but a little pop-up will come up telling you that literally this game does not have any achievements, just so you know like fully that the game itself doesn't have any achievements, but it is still linking to the retro achievements. Whereas if I go exit game here and I pick a PAL game, so if I go to Metal Gear Solid 2, nothing will even show up. So it's not properly linked to the retro achievement servers. So there's literally no pop-up here, and that is plainly because it's the PAL version, and for some reason the PAL versions do not get picked up by retro achievement servers. I will say though, whilst we're on the topic of Metal Gear Solid 2, this rain tanker scene at the start never ran as good for me. It never ran as smooth for me as this. You've got the rain effects. This was ahead of its time on the PS2. These rain effects, I don't know what the fuck Kojima was doing with his wizardry and his sorcery with these effects, but these rain effects are like, they hold up to this day. But for the PS2 era, this is absolutely insane. As you can see, we currently have it set to 6 watt TDP. Locked it to 50 because it's the PAL version, but I will be getting the USA version just for the achievements soon. But yeah, as you can see, it runs really well. And if there was ever a section to test, I mean, obviously there's a lot of big set pieces in the game, but this tanker scene with the rain outside, I'd say is a good area to test for FPS. It definitely runs a lot better than it used to. So here we are, we're just loading up Bully now. As you can see, I've already got an achievement here. So it does hold on to it on the servers. It doesn't just reset every time you load the game back up. If I just load back into my save state, which is also why I love the PS2 emulator on this, save and load states, amazing. Save so much time loading in from the menu. But as you can see, pull up this, it gives you the one I've achieved already. So I've completed the mission Welcome to Bulworth. And all these ones I've got to unlock. So this one definitely runs a lot better. For some reason, I had like a lot of problem running this one before I did the PS2 update, especially outside. It used to stutter like a lot. For some reason, this game isn't as easy to run as you'd expect it to be. But after this update, not only with the widescreen patches does it look really good, I actually think Jimmy's face looks way better in this version. I don't know if I can do a close up, but his face looks way better in this version than it does in Scholarship Edition. I don't know if that's just me, but I much prefer his face in the PS2 game. But yeah, as you can see, bump this one up to 7 watt because, like I say, it did require a little bit more power, but 7 watt isn't anything major. But yeah, outside area, normally one of the harder places to run in the game. I'd normally just run the Scholarship version, but that has its own faults. Like you have to install silent patch in order to get 60 FPS on it, but for some reason the PS2 version just gives me mad nostalgia. I mean, you literally could say, yeah, just get the PC version while you're playing the PS2 one, but just has this nostalgia, especially now I can get achievements built into it. Like, come on. But yeah, as you can see, major update on this gameplay wise. It just seems to run way better. And the fan used to run like shit as well when I was playing this. It used to be blaring out. I know they've done a lot of fan fixes with the Steam Deck, but for some reason it just seems to like be a lot quieter in this game, especially. So yeah, there we go, guys. If you want to see some more PS2 games, just to see how their performance has increased over time, let me know. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a part two, so I've got a lot of games I want to test. In the meantime, enjoy your gaming, and let me know if you guys want to unlock any achievements in some PS2 games that you've missed playing back in the day. Because I know full well, as soon as I come off this video, I'm going to go get the USA version of Metal Gear Solid 2 and start playing that again. But yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.